Northview students, welcome to Culture Conversations. Thanks for being here today, guys. I'm excited to dive into yet another conversation, this time in our series, Poison. And we're talking about some of the poisons that can be infused into our relationships. And so specifically today, I want to talk to you guys about comparison. I think comparison is a poison that we allow into our relationships a lot, especially our generation, right, with social media and just the online realm and everything. And so that's really what I want to begin our conversation with today. How hard do you guys think it is to not give in to comparison?
It's really hard. I mean, it's some of like the first things that you do when you wake up or some of the last things you see before you go to bed. So like those images just like go into your mind and you wake up and you think, why don't I look like that? Why don't I have friends like that? Why don't I have this or that? Or just, it wakes you up with this sense of need or desire for things that are unattainable and probably not even real.
Social media is everywhere. Like you wake up every day, you know, on Instagram, Snapchat or whatever, and like you just get to see into people's lives and this point like, oh, his house is nicer than mine, took another family vacation, like, oh, how does he look? Oh, he looks better than me, you know. Just a ton of comparisons. It's almost hard to avoid in a sense because you don't even know you're making them.
Because it just surrounds us. It just comes from all sides.
I love that we have you four together because you four represent different, right? You come from different schools, you come from different cities, different socioeconomic statuses, different genders. Like there's a lot of differences between the four of you, but what specifically do you guys struggle with in the realm of comparison? And why do you guys feel that pressure, depending on what it is, to look a certain way or to think at a certain level or to be able to do a certain thing? What do you think is driving that? What's at the core of that?
Well, something I personally struggle with in like because I'm an artist and I do art all the time, is when I get on social media, I see like another artist and their art, because maybe they're so much older than me or like something like that. Like I just think, wow, they're so talented and I don't have that ability. You know, I just can't make that. I can't think of that because comparison kills creativity. Sure. And like every time I see something else and I compare myself to that image that I see by another artist, I'm like, well, I can't do that, so why even like try, you know?
Yeah.
We all are athletes, so we all have been through like tryouts for sports. And the whole point is comparison. Whether it's like specifically unhealthy, it's just like 2 to 3 days of adults comparing you comparing yourself to others. It's unavoidable. If you are trying out for a sport, there's no way to not compare. When the whole point of the tryouts is to compare.
I think from like such a young age, like every aspect of our life, you're given like a ranking or a grade or a status. It's like every aspect. You think in school, you have grades. In sports, you have rankings, and like everything is like down to the number. And you're constantly trying to be better. You always want to be number one. But it's like seemingly so unattainable. And so I think like from such a young age, it's just ingrained into our thinking, like, I have to beat them. I have to be the best. I have to do this or that. And you can't. Like, there's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody higher, and you're never going to be satisfied. And so I think for me, comparison has just always been in my life. I'm always comparing. That girl's prettier than me. That girl's a better athlete than me. She's smarter than me. He's smarter than me, whatever. But I think like to be fully content with myself, I have to come to the reality that one, everybody else is thinking the same thing. And two, I am who I am, and like that should be enough for me.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's great. You know, the Bible actually talks about how we can fight comparison. And you guys all talked about it in some sense, but it revolves around this idea of community, right? That when we find ourselves comparing, oftentimes we put ourselves on an island. And like you said, Taylor, like a lot of times the people that we're comparing ourselves to, they have no idea that we're even dealing with that internal warfare, right? They're just out living their lives, right? So it really is a double-edged sword towards us that we're comparing, and it's also just typically affecting us, right? And so for people who don't have Jesus in their heart, who don't have those strong convictions, it can be so easy to get entangled into something like that simply because we're fearful of not fitting in, right?
Yeah.
We've succumbed to comparison. So what do you guys think biblical community looks like? What does it look like to have people around us who will build us up and not tear us down? People who will be there by our side?
I think just like a good kind of gauge of good community is just kind of like whether you're with a group of friends, it's like you don't have to worry about the decisions you can make. Like you can be comfortable around them. Like if I tell them this thing in my past, will they still be around for me?
Just around my Christian friends, I feel like welcome and comforted, and I feel like I can talk about how I feel and like have good, genuine conversation. While, I don't know, around my non-Christian friends, it's just kind of this light, like on top of the surface, just like conversation that maybe we'll forget about tomorrow. Like it doesn't really matter, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, knowing you four personally, I know all of you have at least one solid, good friendship. What does it look like to find a friend? How do we do that?
I think what makes a really good friendship is like just the communication. Like me and my best friend haven't seen each other in maybe a month or so because of quarantine, and just like our communication like is just strong as ever, just because we like just talk about stuff, you know. Like I think that just makes a friendship so much stronger when you can just talk about whatever's on your mind.
I appreciate you guys just being honest about that. If you find yourself, if you're watching this and you think, man, I don't know how to find a friend, what does that even look like? My encouragement would be to you, first and foremost, just to pray. Like just start praying, asking God to bring a friend into your life, because I believe that we believe in a God who answers prayer. If you find yourself in that space where you just need a friend, just pray, ask God to give you one, and I believe that He'll come through for you. Last question for you guys. How have you been able to develop an authentic joy in life, especially in a life filled with so much hurry and information and responsibilities? How have you been able to develop this authentic joy that has allowed you to live in harmony with other people and hasn't allowed you to bring toxins into or poisons into your relationships? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, so something that I've tried to develop, and you kind of said it, is authenticity. I think it's super important to develop healthy relationships, just being open and honest about who you are with the people that are closest to you. But if I'm going to be honest, it can be really hard. It's hard always trying to be like the happy friend or the friend that's always there for other people, and you never quite feel like you can go to them. I find when I'm honest with myself and I don't keep my thoughts or my feelings of how I am inside of me, when I get them out and I share them with other people or just talk them through with myself or with God, I provide a space where I can be more available in an authentic way to the people around me, and thus creates authentic joy from that.
Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. Well, y'all, this has been such a great time just getting to talk about comparison and community and what it looks like to form a Christ-centered identity. And so I'm really thankful for just all of you sharing your hearts and for your authenticity that you gave here today. If you're watching, we hope this encourages you, and we'll see you later.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out our YouTube channel. You're still here, so why not stay a little bit longer? Drop a like and click that red button to enjoy fresh, new Northview Students content every single week. You'll be challenged, encouraged, and inspired. So what are you waiting for? See you guys later.